Hey everyone, my name is Meredith, and I'd like to welcome you to the Keep It Pro training call brought to you by Networking Wisdom each and every Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific for the past 7.5 years. This call is geared for the entrepreneur inside of you. Here you will not only learn business skills, but also life skills that will take you to the next level. I have the honor and privilege to introduce the creator and host of this call, Mr. Romacio Fulcher. Romacio is an extremely successful international entrepreneur, as well as a sought-after leader, trainer, coach, and mentor. Romacio not only teaches others, but he himself applies what he teaches through his intense focus and dedication, which has allowed him to achieve unprecedented success. In the 7 years I've known Romacio, I've seen him build a team of over 750,000 people. I've seen him do over $2 billion in sales, and I've seen him break records in network marketing. Although Romacio loves the network marketing industry, over the last several years, Romacio shifted gears and entered commodities and finance. This change was not by choice, but rather he was guided by God to take this new uncharted path. Using his strong faith and work ethic, he has excelled at this industry as well, opening up doors of expansion that he would have never known existed if he had not followed God's instructions. Having said that, his true love is still to share his experiences and knowledge to help others achieve their goals. He is here today to do what he does best, lay out success principles and strategies in a way that is simple and easy to understand. Romacio is here on this call to serve you, to teach you, to enlighten you. I recommend that you grab a pen and paper and get ready for what he has in store for you today. Whether this call enlightens you or provides confirmation of what you already know, you're going to want to take notes. Without further ado, let me get out of the way and introduce your millionaire mentor, marketplace minister, Mr. Romacio Fulcher. Are you there?
Absolutely,
Romacio?
I'm here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Meredith, for stepping up and being our host, as you always do. I want to welcome everyone back again for another edition of the Sunday Keep It Pro training call. As you may know, we're literally over 7 years now that we've been doing this call, and we're delighted to do it. It's been an absolute treat for me to be a part of it, for me to also learn from these calls, for me to be the host of these calls. And I just can't thank you guys enough for all of the responses. And I know I don't get a chance to always respond to every email or even sometimes some of the social media messages, but I want to say, listen, I'm sending you love right back to you. I appreciate you just as much as you appreciate me. Together we are a team. We add value to one another. Maybe perhaps these calls is my way of maybe trying to add value to you, and perhaps, you add value to me as you demonstrate what gift it is that you have. So always know, as we say every single week, we always say this, what you make happen for others, God will turn right back around and make it happen for you. Ladies and gentlemen, anytime you hear me saying something over and over and over and over again, it is not to be a nuisance or to be annoying, but it is rather to emphasize something that I believe you're missing. It's funny how life is. We spin our wheels, busy. We're all waiting. We're all looking for something. And sometimes it's right up underneath our nose. Sometimes the very thing that will be the catalyst for the blessing that we're hoping for the promotion that we're looking for the healing that we've been waiting on, for the joy to be restored again, for whatever it is that we're looking for, sometimes the world will make you think it's more complicated than the living God that we all serve made it out to be. Let me repeat myself. I said sometimes the world will lead you to believe that it's much more complicated. It's funny. One of the slogans that if you're not careful, it's going around out there in the world. You ask a person how they're doing today, and they say it's complicated. So what's going on with you and Bob? Well, it's complicated. It's like be careful not to start absorbing and reciting these cliches that are man-made that just we just like to throw out catchphrases sometimes. Be careful not to start to assimilate and begin to use those, because what you speak is what you will manifest. But the funny thing about it, the way that God has designed things, before you were ever a thought in your mother's womb, God had already answered all of your questions. Man, that right there is profound to know. Before you were ever a thought in your mama's womb, God had already answered all the questions. And so it's interesting that the world will have you believing that it's complicated to find out what's going on. No. It's very simple. And that's why we always say, what you do for others, God will make it happen for you. It's about serving. It's about serving. It's about serving. It's about serving. It's about service. It's about serving. That's what it's truly, truly all about. And so I just want to give a public shout out to all of you guys that have been rocking with us since day one. Those of you that have recently joined the platform, I don't know, a month, a year, or whatever. Just I want to say a loud thank you to every single person. Please do not charge it. Charge it to my head and not my heart if I just don't get a chance to always respond to the emails and the messages. I love you too, and I appreciate you, and it's because of people like you is why we continue to keep this platform open to all men, all women, no matter what country, both domestic and international. That's why we continue to do this. We have not forgotten about you. That's the purpose of this call. I love this call. I love the fact that you get to listen while you're at the gym on the treadmill or while you're washing dishes or whatever it is you're doing. It's a one-directional call most of the time where we get a chance just to share wisdom nuggets with you. And please do not ever think that I'm above reproach. Don't ever think that I'm above the very message that I'm giving. Did you not know that according to the Bible, that when a man or a woman speaks, it says that the words that are coming out of their mouth are like a double-edged sword? What's that mean? That means these words, these principles, these philosophies that I'm sharing with you, be it that I'm the host and I'm sharing them, they apply just as much to me as it does to you. A lot of the times, guys, this call, if you really want a secret, this is nothing more than my way of being able to release. Let me say that again. You know, I don't drink. I don't smoke. Now, hold it. That certainly don't mean I'm perfect, because I'm far from perfect. Just because I don't drink and I don't smoke don't mean I'm perfect. So don't you start putting me in the perfect category, because I'll tell you right now, take me out. I'm not perfect. But what I'm saying is, a lot of times people retreat to artificial things as a way of a release. Now, look, don't get me fired up and don't get me started, because, you know, everybody on this call, including myself. Hello, anybody listening? Every single person listening to this call, we all have something that we retreat to get a release. And it ain't always bad. But don't get me fired up, because I'll start naming them one by one. Whoo, and everybody will start dropping. Okay, so listen, my point is, listening to this call here, guys, is really a release for myself. You know, sometimes my ears need to hear my mouth say a particular thing. Sometimes I need to put my spirit needs to put the universe on notice. Sometimes my spirit needs to speak back to what it is, the situations that I may find myself in from day to day. Hello. And I just thought, hey, why don't I be bold enough, courageous enough to let you listen in? And you know what? As it turns out, funny thing is, I found out that I wasn't the only one going through something. I wasn't the only one dealing with that issue. Next thing you know, we got an army of people that's just like me. Hello. And that's why we have this platform. So again, I love you, and I appreciate you. If there's anything that I hope, that I pray that you've garnered from this call, it is that I hope and I pray that the main message for the last 7.5 years, and we keep doing this call, the main message, I'm talking to all of you. Those of you listening to the replay, if you stumbled on this call 5 years from today, and today is December the 11th, I think it is, 2023. If you stumbled on this call from 5 years from now, I'm talking directly to you. This is a timeless word that I'm giving you. The main message, it'll never go out of style. Technology, AI, call it what you want. It will never replace what I'm going to say. It'll never replace this. It's timeless. The main message The main theme. If you forget my name, forget who I am, I could care less. But the main message of this entire call is I want you to always remember what I'm talking to you. Yes, I'm talking to wretched you, broken you. Yes, I'm talking to you with all the issues. Yes, I'm talking to you that thinks you're Mr. and Mrs. Perfect. Yes, I'm talking to you, the rich one, the middle class one, the back and forth one, the bastard child one, the broke one, the broken one. I'm talking to you. Are you listening? Yes, I'm not stuttering. I'm talking right to you. The main message is what you make happen for others, God will make it happen for you. You don't have to perseverate on it no more. You don't have to stutter and frustration and wrestling and all the stuff you've been doing. I'm waiting on my promotion and how. Somebody's waiting for something. Everybody waiting on something. The answer is service. The answer is service. Serve your way to the top. That's how you do it, baby. And I know, look, I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not Rihanna. I'm not a singer. I'm not Beyonce. I'm not T.D. Jakes. I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not Tiger Woods. I'm not, Steph Curry. I'm not these guys. I'm not Morris Chestnut. I'm not Denzel. I am who I am, and I don't apologize for it. Each and every single one of those people that I mentioned, they all have their lane, and I have mine too. They all have their assignment, and I have mine too. See, the problem, and I hope that you're encouraged, stop minimizing the very gift that God gave you. Listen, look outside. Stop looking in the mirror. Look outside at all these beautiful trees and notice something. Every tree that's real nice, big, and strong, right? It all started from a small seed. The Bible says, despise not the day of small beginnings. What's that mean? It means that little bitty thing that you just keep dismissing, putting on the back burner. Oh, I got to get on. Who is Romacio? He sounds like a preacher on this call. What is this? Girl, what have you invited me to? What have you invited me on? What is this all about? I'm not concerned about what people think about me. Man, it is none of my business what you think about me. But it is my business to obey the gift that was given to me and share it. And as a result, because I continue to share it and be an answer, be a solution to someone else's problems, guess what God does for me? He continues to keep on blessing me. Oh, let me tell you this. Let me tell you the best part. He continues to keep on blessing me with blessings that I don't even deserve. Did you hear? No. Get your pen, get your paper. Let me say that again. You missed it. Let's back up. Yes, you. Don't be too busy. Don't be too occupied. Write this down. I said, when you make it happen for others, God is going to make it happen for you. That's what I said. But I also said, he keeps blessing me with blessings, plural, that I don't even deserve. And the point of that is, I want you to capture that. He keeps blessing you, but he don't with blessings that you don't even deserve. Now, some of you might look. Somebody's nose turned up. I felt it. Somebody's nose. What you mean? You know how hard I've worked? You know who I am? Do you know my resume? Do you know my mama, my daddy? Do you know where I come from? I'm born in the royalty. What you mean? He's blessing me. I don't deserve these blessings. God is not obligated. He is not mandated to give you a miracle. Who you think you are? Listen, homeboy, you got it twisted. I'm here to set the record straight. He's not mandated or obligated to bless you, to wake you up tomorrow morning. Listen, I'll tell you what. Listen, you're getting me fired up. And I don't even know you, but you're getting me fired up. Listen, I'll put it to you this way. Let's keep it real simple. Let me prove one thing to you, and then we're going to keep it moving. If God were to stop being God. Whoa, back up. Say it again. If God were to stop being God. Yeah, I'm talking about the God that literally spoke, and all of a sudden the sun, the moon, and the stars appeared. I'm talking about the God that brings the sun up early in the morning and it sets in the evening. I'm talking about the God that created the fishes, the air, everything. That God. That's what I'm talking, the one and only living God. I'm saying to you, if he were to stop being who he is, are you aware that everything would decompose? Hold it right there. Say it again. If God were to stop being God, his infinite self, everything would decompose. So let it be clear, I know you went to Stanford, and I love Stanford. I know you went to Yale, and I love Yale. I know you're smart, 4.0 student, and I love good students. I know. You got an A on every test in school. Great, I'm happy for you. But let me serve notice to you that if God were to stop being God, everything would decompose. That means it would stop, wouldn't work. So God is not obligated. He's not mandated to bless you. But because his character, come on, man, you get me fired up again. But because of his character, God's character, he said we are his children. And yes, he wants to bless us. He delights to bless us. Yes, our wretched selves. Yes, our broken selves. Yes, our confused selves. Yes, that's how much he loves us. So you better write it down. I'm talking to you from a place. You better get this message. I want you to get this message. If you never join this platform again, I want you to get this. That what you make happen for others, God is going to make it happen for you. Sometimes you have to learn how to lead while at the same time you're bleeding. Sometimes you're going through all hell and you know about that, but yet you've still got an assignment that you got to carry forth. I just want to make it real clear that the way to the mountaintop, the way to where it is you're trying to go is through service. We all, like the old folks say, we all got to serve somebody. So you better get good. You better get used to understanding that what you make happen for others. That's why it's so important for you to stop dismissing the gift that was given to you. Stop dismissing it because, I wanted to be a makeup artist, but yet and still I'm not a makeup artist, and yet and still I'm a good salesperson. Yeah, I wanted to be this, but that's just not the gift that God gave me. I can't do that. Stop dismissing. God also said in his word that the gift that he gave you, he promised that he would make room in this world for your gift. And that's very comforting. And I hope for those of you that have followed or continue to follow and listen to this platform, I hope that you see I'm 5'9". My weight fluctuates. It depends upon what season you catch me in. If you catch me when I'm eating right, taking care of business, I'm in the low 200s, 205, 200, something like that. When I get a little happy, get carried away, my habits start to slack, I can balloon up on you about 235, something like that. Every now and then I touch 240 and I say that's enough. Come back. So I'm 5'9". Okay. You got a description of my weight. I told you I'm imperfect as can be. I'm as broken as can be. But you know what else? I'm as gifted and anointed as God has poured the oil on my life. And I don't know, I don't deserve it, but all I know to do is share it. And why do I say that to you? Because the same way I described myself, my hope, my prayer, whether your relationship is perfect, whether your grades in school are perfect, whether you got a lot of money, a medium amount, or you got no money at all, my greatest hope is that you discover the power of you, the gift that you have. And listen, I don't need my mama, daddy, I don't need my woman to back me up on this. I don't need a choir to stand behind me. I know that I know what I'm talking about. You are gifted. There's something inside of you, and hopefully this call inspires you. Hopefully, if you could see me talk about it and do this, and guess what? I don't have anybody liking my post. Guess what? You don't see me coming on here and, I don't even know your name. I don't know who's listening. I don't know if we got 3,000 listeners today, 5,000, 20,000, or if we just got one person. And nor do I care, because I'm not trying to be famous. I'm just trying to be effective. And I know it only takes one person to start a barn fire. And I'm telling you, God has been so good to me. If he never, ever, ever, ever does anything else again for me, he's done more than enough. And I just don't know why he continues to bless me like this. I don't know why he continues to give me so much favor. I don't deserve it. But every time I look over my life, I look at my life, I can't help but just extend a little bit more forgiveness for my neighbor, because I look at the forgiveness that God has given me. Every time I look at my life and I look back over my life, I can't help but be a little bit more patient for him or her. Every time I look at my life and I look over my life, I can't help but watch my tone on how I say certain things to people, for people are God's most precious asset. Every time I begin to look at what God has done for me, what he continues to do for me, it just puts me back in my place. Somebody said it like this: before the grace of God go I. In other words, what's that mean? It just means, had it not been for God's grace, had it not been for God's mercy. See, what I want you to get this. See, it's going to help put your ego in line. I know some of you listening, oh, I don't have no ego. Yes, you do. Come on, it's Sunday. Stop lying. Yes, you do. You got an ego. You sure do. But what happens is when you put your mind on God and you begin to, first of all, look at God for who he is, his character, what he's done, just who he is, what his capabilities are. When you really begin to grasp that, when we say on a daily basis, at least I say this, that I can do all things through Christ, right? Nothing is impossible for God. When you begin to just say that over and over again, and that begins to sink into you, and you begin to see the omnipotence of God, how big God is. You know, some of you think, oh, it's too late. It's December the 11th, and my dreams have not come true. Wait a minute. Let me put you on notice. Let me remind you. Maybe today's call is meant to remind you. Let me remind you that the same God that you're talking about, that it's too late here in December, the 11th. Yes, this is the year of right now. We've been saying it every Sunday. This is, and we're not going to back up on it. We're going to stand on it, 10 toes flat. This is the year of right now. And then there you are thinking, well, maybe it's a little too late for me. No, it ain't too late for you. Let me remind you that the God that I'm talking about, the one and only living God, are you aware that he created everything, including mankind? He did it in 6 days. Everything done in 6 days. Let me remind you, he defeated death, the burial, and the grave in 3 days. And you talking about you need $10,000 a month. You talking about you need a few $1 million. You talking about you need this, you need that, you need a relationship restored. You're talking about you need $1 billion or you need 100 million. This is the God that I'm talking about. Listen, let me remind you of the resume. So what I'm saying to you, the first thing you ought to do is love God for who he is. For who he is. He believed in you, loved you, wanted the best from you, for you, with you, when you wanted nothing to do with him. He patiently waited for you to open the door and say yes to him. This is the God we're talking about. And then secondly, guys, you got to thank God for all that he's done in your past. If you can hear the sound of my voice, God has been so good to you. You made it to this little bitty phone call, and he allowed your ears to still function. He allowed your mind to still be intact so you can understand and comprehend what I'm saying to you. Your motor skills are still functioning. Listen, no. We have to do this so that you can understand how the healing happens for you, how the breakthrough happens for you, how the promotion happens for you. Why do we have to do this? I'm purposely drawing your attention back to this because the world wants you to feel busted, just stressed out, angry, anxiety-driven, in a hurry, you're too late, rushing, fear-bound, and none of that is of God. None of that is of God. And I just want to remind you, this is just a reminder. Look, hey, settle down. Don't get upset with me. An alarm clock only intends to remind you of something you intended on doing anyway. So if you already know what I'm talking about, I'm just a reminder. This is good news. This is good news. But again, thank God for who he is. Secondly, thank him for all that he's done in the past. Thank him for all that he's doing right now. What does that mean? Don't thank him just for everything that you got, all the stuff that you got that you wanted. Thank him for the doors that were closed. Thank him for the protection that you don't even know how he protected you. Thank him that maybe it didn't happen when you wanted it to, for you don't know what you were spared of. Let me put it this, write this down. Thank him because you don't know what you don't know. Maybe it was best that you weren't there. Maybe it was best that it didn't happen like that. So thank him for the good. Thank him for what you perceive to be the bad. And thank him for the future. I said again, to bring context back in order. Thank God for who he is. Love God for who he is, his character. Even if you don't understand everything. None of us understand everything. And anybody tell you that they do understand everything of God, walk out, because they lying. They don't know what they're talking about. None of us can properly explain God. And the reason why we can't, because you can't we can't contain God. He cannot be contained. He can do what he wants, when he wants, to whom he wants. That's the God I'm talking about. That's how that works, okay? And that works for white people, Latinos, blacks, Asians, Russians, Mongolians, Filipino, and every other nationality that I did not call out. It's applicable to all. So the point of what we're saying here today is I want you to understand that you got a gift inside of you. You've got something so precious inside of you. And this is the year of right now. It's your job to listen to the prior calls. You can find us on YouTube, as you know. And it's your job to decode, translate what the two words right now mean for you. This is I'm talking 2023, ma'am, is the year of right now. For some of you, it means start something. For others of you, it means stop something. For some of you, for some, I can't tell you. I don't know. That's not my job to figure. I'm just a messenger. All I can tell you, this is the year of right now. For some of you, this is the this right now. It's happening right now. The manifestation. I know you've been believing. I know you've been sacrificing. I know you've been praying. I know you've been hoping. And God sees all that. And he used me to tell you right now. This is the year right now. So it's not too late for God to do that which he's promised or which he said he would do. None of us know the day nor the hour of when it's actually going to happen. But I've got great news for all of the listeners that are listening to me right now. I'm going to say it again. None of us, including me, know the actual day, the hour, the second of when it's actually going to manifest. We don't know that. We don't know the day of when it's going to happen. But we do know, let me tell you what we do know. We do know that God has a date on it with your name on it. He has a date when the healing will be 1,000% restored. God has a date with your name on it when the relationship will be made whole. God has a date when the manifestation of the financial abundance that you've been preparing for so that you can do good works with it will actually come to pass. God has a date when the promotion will take place for you. And today I got some great news, and we're going to get out of here. Oh, yeah, today is that call, baby. You didn't walk into a barn fire, didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. But today is that day. And what do I mean by that? I came today to serve notice on you. I want you to grab a pen. And I want you to grab a piece of paper. And I'd like for you to write this down. I want you to write this scripture down. Amos, A-M-O-S, Amos, the 9th chapter, the 13th through the 15th verse. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to say it again. Amos, the 9th chapter, the 13th through the 15th verse. Here's what it says. It won't be long now. I told you this is a year of right now. And some kind of way, the Spirit has dropped this scripture in my heart to share with you. Some kind of way, this scripture has made it to me. Here it is, December the 11th of 2023. And the scripture reads, it won't be long now. So what we're talking about here on this call, the theme of today's call, for those of you that saw the flyer, for those of you that have seen the flyer that we created, the theme of today's call is a subtle switch leads to a sudden switch. A subtle switch leads to a sudden switch. Have you ever heard that suddenly it's going to happen? Have you ever heard that all of a sudden you were treading along and moving along and you were one day and suddenly all of a sudden you woke up and the bank account had riches in it? Have you ever heard or experienced where you had been praying for something and you had been travailing over something for some time and all of a sudden it was a sudden moment that it just happens? What did I just tell you 5 minutes ago? That All right, guys, I'm back. You see what happens when you see what happens sometimes when you're doing the right thing? The enemy tries to cut the phone lines off because he don't want you to hear what we got to say. But that's not going to happen. So we're going to continue right where we just left off. What I was saying to you is that a subtle switch, subtle, S-U-B-T-L-E, leads to a sudden switch. And I was giving you an illustration of many different times all of a sudden things happen. In other words, you're pushing along, you're moving along, you're going along, and boom, suddenly the healing happens. Suddenly the relationship's restored. Suddenly the money shows up. Suddenly the promotion takes place. Suddenly, all of a sudden, you act on that idea. Suddenly, you gain the strength to break away. Suddenly, you say no to this or you say yes to that. So, all of a sudden, okay? All of a sudden. And I'm bringing that to the forefront of your mind because in the book of Amos in the Bible, 9th chapter, 13th through the 15th verse, it says, it won't be long now. And the reason I want to draw your attention to this is intentionally, guys, because this is the year of right now, 2023. That's why I really hope you bookmark these calls. I hope you look forward to being on these calls because I'm telling you guys, great things are happening right now. Now you say, well, that's wonderful, Romacio. You sound really prophetic. No, I don't. That's not what I'm trying to be. I'm just letting you know what's happening. You have to catch this in the spirit. What's that mean? It simply means you've got to get the revelation from above. How do I get the revelation, Romacio? All you got to do is ask God. After the call is over, ask God. Lord, I need you to give me a revelation of how this applies to me. Is there something I'm supposed to end? Is there something I'm supposed to start? Is there something to talk to me? Lord, well, I don't want to miss it. I can't afford to miss it. I want to be in your will. This is the year of right now. And here it is. We're backing it up. Scripture, Amos 9:13-15. It won't be long now. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a powerful, 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 powerful message today. And I want you to understand that it's important. It's important. It is so important that you write this down. And I'm going to say it 3 times. Your suddenly moment, for whatever it is that you have been laboring, been praying, been waiting on, whatever miracle that it is that you have been expecting to happen for you, in you, through you, as you, listen, I'm talking to you, whatever miracle that you have been expecting to happen for you is what we call a sudden moment. Write that down. You got to get that. Write that down. My miracle, when it happens, when it shows up, it's all of a sudden thing. It's a sudden moment. It's a suddenly moment. It's a sudden moment. You get that? But this is what I really want you to get, and I want you to circle this. Your sudden moment, your sudden miracle is always tied to something slow. I'm going to explain it. Your sudden moment, your suddenly, is always tied to something slow. The secret of a sudden moment or the secret of a sudden switch is tied to steady or consistency. Uh-oh, somebody got it. I felt it. Somebody got what I just said. I'm going to say it again. The secret to a sudden switch, in other words, anytime I say sudden switch, I want you to think about that miracle that you're expecting. The secret to a sudden switch is steady or consistency. Now, what does this mean? I'm going to give it to you. Your subtle switch, your sudden moment, your sudden moment, it's tied to you being steady in something. It's tied to you when we say steady, when times are good, you're steady. When times are bad, you're steady. When you feel like it, you're still steady. You still keep praying for it. You still keep believing for it, even when you don't feel like it, even when you gain weight, even when they're talking about your weight gain, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're confused, even when you don't quite understand. You still keep being steady. Let me say it real nice and slow for you. Your sudden moment is tied to you being steady. You ever heard the saying of the tortoise and the hare? The tortoise and the hare, somebody gets out the gate real fast. Next you know they get tired and they stop. But the person who was just moving real slow, but they were steady or they were consistent, won the race. Well, I'm here to tell you that your sudden moment, in other words, your miracle, is tied to your steadiness. You got to be steady. See, that's why I love my grandparents. I love my mom. I really do. And let me tell you, it's not just because she's my mom. I'm a grown man now, so we're past the fact that she's my mother. But I'm more into character. Character is what catches my attention. Character is what makes the difference for me. Character is what screams at me. Character is what jumps out. See, when you get 45, I don't know, something just starts changing. I don't know if it's midlife crisis or midlife. I don't know what it is. Maturity, I can't call it. I can't call it, Frank. I can't call it. All I know is that I start to look deeper at things. What they say, window dressing don't do it for me like it used to. See, the window dressing used to get me. Oh, I got to go in that store. Oh, did you see what was in the window? Next thing you know, I get in the store and start looking at the substance of the material, and I lose interest. So window dressing doesn't do it for me anymore. But substance does, or character. What we're talking about here is my grandparents, they're no longer with us physically, but they always remained steady. They didn't change their routine. They always remained steady. Always. My mom, no matter who's in office, Republican or Democrat, she don't change. She remains steady in her routine, in her faith. It and here it is. I'm up here doing research and I'm learning, right? And okay, so my sudden moment is tied to me being steady. And anytime you're steady, that means things happen slow. It appears like it's happening slow, but then all of a sudden, boom, it happens. And that's why I've been trying to tell you, and I've been trying to show you that this is the year of right now. And here it is, we in December, and my eyes, my spirit have been drawn to Amos, the 9th chapter, the 13th through the 15th verse. It won't be long now. Wow. And then I dig deeper, because again, I don't want to be seduced by the title. Oh, that sounds real sexy. It won't be long now. Uh-oh. But then I dig deeper, and this is when you ought to get excited. Yes, I'm talking to you. And so you thought nobody heard your tears. You thought nobody felt your stress. You thought you were the only one that knew your blood pressure has been high for a while. You thought no one saw, because every time you try and talk about it, it seems like nothing changes. Every time you mention your feelings, nobody does anything. It just seemed like nobody's listening to you. That's how it feels. But I got great news for you, that when I begin to dig deeper into how sudden things take place, come on now, when I begin to dig deeper on how sudden things all of a sudden manifest, what it taught me was, and it'll teach you the same thing, that sudden things are tied to steady things. Sudden things are tied to steady things. Sudden things are tied to consistency. Sudden things are tied to consistency. So the question becomes, and why we know this is of God, is because God's character. Oh, God is all about character. That's real. And so when we can say, but we've been praying for it, we've been laboring for it, we've been preparing for it. Our faith was tried and tested, but we never gave up. We continued to. We might have gotten knocked down, but we didn't stay down. We might have felt bad for a day, a week, or two, but we kept on moving. In other words, we were steady. We were consistent. That's why I told you we're going to do the call. Sometimes I feel like doing the call. Sometimes I don't. But we're going to remain what? Steady. That's what we're going to do. And why are we going to remain steady? Because we have learned, I'm including you in this, we have learned that our sudden moment is tied to our steadiness. And steadiness is slow. Steadiness is not sexy. It's not popular. It's not, oh my God. It's not exciting. See, the thrill is when you come out fast and you're doing it real fast. Oh, man, look at her go. Look at him go. Man, she's fast. Oh, my God, she's fast, right? See, that's the thrill. But see, wise people know how long can you keep doing it? Can you keep showing up again? Can you do it again? Can you do it again and again and again and again? And look at what God tells us. Look at what he tells us, that our sudden moment is tied to something steady. Consistency. Look at what that teaches us. But I got great news for you. I got great news for you. I got great news for you, guys. I got great news. Amos chapter 9, verse 13 through the 15th verse. Say it out loud with me. It won't be long now. Now look, if you want to be too cute, you too shy, this is weird, don't do it then. But if you got the courage to be bold for the very thing that you have been preparing for, you know you've been crying for it, you know you've been steady about it, you know you've been consistently praying for it, you know you don't quite understand all the dynamics inclusive of it, you don't understand everything, but you just won't quit because you're not a quitter. Then say it with me. It won't be long now. Ladies and gentlemen, I like the way that sounds, baby. Oh, I like the way that sounds. That's a wrap. You know how the movie producer says, cut, that's a wrap. That's it. That's it. This is the year of right now, and we ended right now with Amos, the 9th chapter, 13th through the 15th verse. It won't be long now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Romacio Fulcher, the California Kid. I'm signing off. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.